Very big. All right. So let me change this audio a little bit more. See if that's good. So farming on let me add some music here. All right, so farming on Empire side. So if you want to farm on Empire side, first up is the opening. Have some idea of where the creep packs are, or just like target enemy AI and just be like, okay, this is the pack I'm going for. Having good movement's really important. You can go in with your team. I recommend that. Or if you're like me and you're YOLO, you just kind of boost up to it, lock onto it, keep drifting, Goliath, pull away, and go for another pack. So on the opening phase, your goal is not necessarily to like do anything except kill as many AI as quickly as possible, as safely as possible. However you have to do it. So managed it. And now I'm going to resupply, and I'm going to go for, we got lucky this time with the opening flip, very safe there. And now we're gonna go into like an ion build for offense. I'm gonna keep doing boost gasping here and using my movement to get into hangar as quickly as possible. Mess up a little bit, but you saw we were still like safe enough that it was okay. So there's a couple ways you can do this. I'm gonna use an ion cannon defender here. You can use stuff like ion missiles or whatever, but I'm gonna use ion cannons here because I can kind of like shift this a little bit into like harassing the enemy AI farmer if I want to. Just using ion missiles is also perfectly fine. That's what I recommend. So you can essentially, in a defender, you can ignore players, use your drift techs, boost skip in, boost gasp as you get in here. I have Conk quick lock. You can use Conk ion missile. It's probably a very safe bet. And so I just shoot the shields. Another teammate's already got some damage on the shields, so just do some of that, and then we go over, once the shield is down one, go to the Evercruiser, and you can see it burns pretty quickly. So like about 2 bouts of overcharged lasers pretty much do it for this. So power management wise, after about 2 seconds, 2 seconds after my drift, I put my power back into engines so that, oh, that's a Y-wing. So that I don't run out of boost energy or anything. He has ion cannon, so I'm gonna avoid jousting him, but I'm gonna waste his time and try to get, he just uses countermeasures, so this means that I know I can fire missiles at him, and he explodes. Let's go. I'm gonna switch targeting players here, try to switch targeting players here. And we're gonna go after this A-Wing who seems to be on us with some standard lasers and quick locks and stuff. I have ray shield, so I'm really not scared of standard lasers. There's a B-Wing over there. I see it by the ridiculous lasers, fireworks lasers. So B-Wings are easy targets, guys. If you see a B-Wing, it's free food, free food. And I got killed by the Seeker Mine from the B-Wing, so watch out and make sure you can chaff if you go into a Seeker Mine. I'm blind, apparently. So we're getting ready for defense here. You see the morale bar is very close to flipping back, so I'm gonna switch back to the bomber here. Oh, never mind. So it didn't, yeah, it's close to flipping. So I'm gonna switch back to the bomber. Wasting 15 seconds or so and getting on AI farm as soon as the phase flips is more important than getting an extra 5 or 10 seconds of cap chip damage, especially when you then have to spend 10 or 20 seconds going back and retreating and setting up for a and then switching back to your AI farm. So I'm already going to be looking at a creep pack here. So this pack over here, they're pretty spread out, so I'm going to go ahead and just fire my multi-locks when they're all locked on. I kind of center my screen so that as many X-Wings are on screen as possible. I'm rotaring these packs because a single multi-lock missile doesn't necessarily destroy an X-Wing pack or an individual X-Wing, but will sometimes just like hurt it a lot. And so you want to be focusing on getting behind the pack and finishing off with that rotary cannon. I'm going to switch back to targeting enemy AI here. And I'm also looking at my radar. So on the bottom of my screen is my radar, and each of those hollow dots you can see is like an X-Wing, one of those AI X-Wings. And this is really, really valuable, guys. Like doing this is more valuable to my team than killing players right now, because players are so much harder to kill, and this is so consistent, such consistent morale income. So again, just looking for those packs. Most of the time, a lot of the time you're not even going to use a Goliath. Here's a time I can use it, is when you see like a pack that's grouped together. So you just lock on, fire it, and then shoot at any X-Wings that are like separated from the pack. I'm going to use a Multilock missile just because I don't see any opportunities right now, and we're pretty close to the flip. So if I can just get a couple more AI kills, we're pretty set. I'm using my eyes on both the radar and other things, so I can do that. Okay. Both on the radar and on screen to look for where those AI are. So like I see my radar, and I look in those places like relative to the radar on screen where the X-Wings are, and I try to shoot them down. We're gonna switch to a burst cannon defender now. This one has conch missile and cluster missile. The reason for that is that I can just put on a lot of damage onto the frigates. The other things on this build are I have ray shields. Fortified shields are fine if you want to use those if you're scared of missiles, and deflector hull. Dampener hull is also perfectly fine if you're scared of missiles, or if you just want something that doesn't feel like paper when you smash into objects. I recommend dampener hull to start. So flagship attack. I'm gonna boost in here, power to engines, stop my drift, and fire all my missiles as soon as I get in. Pull out. Pull the other side just so I can avoid getting blasted by any rebel scum. And then I boost out and I go back to the other side for another run. So basically, right, pull out, go over, and go to the other side. Blast, blast, blast. Pull out. Go over, go back to the other side, and they just have a lot of trouble catching up with this because the defender is so fast. If you mess up, if you like bump or get caught by a tractor beam, just like run around, boost out, whatever you need to do. Just don't get caught in one place for too long. The number one thing you can do to avoid dying is just keep moving around the MC-75. So I'm gonna do something very simple here, is I'm gonna just do loops around the tail where the tractor beams can't hit me. And I'm going to just keep putting damage into this with my burst cannons. I'm only gonna get like 2 or 3 cluster missiles in at a time. I'm not gonna worry too much about weak spots, and I'm just gonna keep firing on it with my burst cannons. And I'm gonna keep cycling my power over to weapons and then back to engines, back to weapons, back to engines, back to weapons, long drift, back to engines, back to weapons, long drift, back to engines, back to weapons, long drift, back to engines, and once now I'm a little low on shields, so I'm gonna just keep looping, but I'm gonna loop faster, and I'm gonna loop with my power and shields. I'm not gonna worry about shooting. That's a seeker mine, that's a little spooky. If you're fast, you should be able to still avoid it without any trouble. And just when I'm evading, see I'm not shooting, right? Evade or shoot. And there you go. So that was a little quick, but you can use these techniques as like proof of concept examples for how to do this kind of offense, how to farm on defense, as a very, very quick sort of thing.